president hasn't been slamming the press quite so vociferously this week, but he is talking about a media-driven witch hunt on past ties to Russia. Joining us now from Dallas is Katrina Pearson, former campaign official, now spokeswoman for the nonprofit pro-Trump group America First Policies. And welcome to you this morning.
Thank you. Great to be here.
We've been talking about President Trump accusing Barack Obama of making this explosive charge of acting like Nixon during Watergate, personally blaming the former president for tapping his phones, for wiretapping Trump Tower during the campaign. Why would he make such a charge without offering any proof?
Well, clearly the president has information that has not been released yet, and I'm sure in the days to come we'll hear more about this. But it's not quite far-fetched to even imagine something like this being done by the Obama administration. I mean, this is the same administration that utilized several agencies to target political opposition with regards to the IRS and the DOJ, which was mentioned earlier on your show. We don't even have to go back too far to see, for example, with the DOJ raid on Gibson Guitar, for using the exact same wood as their competitor. The difference is that the CEO of Gibson was a Republican donor.
Okay, but
so
Katrina,
it's not far-fetched to see that. Right.
But to say it's not far-fetched to imagine it, and to say that the president probably has information that he's not sharing, doesn't rise to the level of anybody in journalism being able to report this is true, this is arguably true. If the president has more information on this, why would he go the Twitter route and not release that information to make his case?
Well, he specifically used Twitter, and you can refer to his Twitter. He says, "I just learned." This is something that he was just informed. Obviously, he said that in his statement. And I'm pretty sure we're going to see more of that to come. But where is the evidence, Howard, where Donald Trump was working with the Russians during the campaign? We have been seeing this narrative in the media for months now with zero evidence.
I don't dispute that. All this investigations and allegations and insinuations may turn out to be nothing. I want to come back to that, but let me ask you this. You have Breitbart doing an article that we know was circulated in the White House about stuff that Mark Levin said on the radio, past hints, reports, New York Times, The Guardian, and others, about whether the FBI was seeking some kind of approval from the FISA National Security Court to go after devices or do eavesdropping at Trump Tower. That is not the same as saying that Barack Obama personally authorized this. So is the president here reacting to an article in Breitbart, which is obviously a favored publication at the White House?
Well, I mean, if you just look at the last administration again, I mean, this is the same administration where the president used an alias to communicate with Hillary Clinton on the illegal server. The statement that came out today with regards to Obama says that they in no way would have interfered with an investigation, but we know for a fact that the FBI wanted to investigate the Clinton Foundation, and Obama's administration stepped in. So again, this too is not far-fetched.
All right. Now, the Washington Post, as you know, reported this week that Jeff Sessions had given what we might say was an incomplete answer to the Senate Judiciary Committee during his confirmation about a couple of past contacts with the Russian ambassador. That story, as far as we know, was accurate, and the Attorney General on his own made the decision to recuse himself from any investigation involving Russia or the campaign. The president later said this is all a witch hunt, and Democrats haven't accepted the outcome of the election. Why is it a witch hunt to report something that turned out to be true, at least on the press's part?
Well, because really there's no there. Jeff Sessions answered the question that was asked to him in the capacity that he was part of the campaign. Of course, a senator has interactions with foreign officials, and that's not the question that was asked to him. You know, I don't think he should have recused himself, but he did so, as he said he would, and in looking at each case individually, and because he was essentially considered a part of the campaign, he recused himself.
All right, let me come back to your larger point, which is all these stories and investigations and allegations going back to who in the campaign or Trump associates had contacts with people from Russia, including the Russian ambassador. Do you think the media are pursuing this because they have a sense that there is a there, that there's something nefarious at the heart of this, or just because there are a lot of unanswered questions about these contacts, some of which have not been disclosed until now?
No, I think this particular attack on the Attorney General, Jeff Sessions, was specifically to remove all of the coverage from the amazing speech that the president gave. He gave a speech where you had Republicans and Democrats agreeing the country was coming together around this president, and the media was not going to let that happen.
We talked about that. Do you believe the timing of the story was deliberate to cut off the positive publicity? Okay.
Oh, absolutely. Democrats are notorious for knowing how to change the narrative. They've done this before, and the difference this time is you have a Republican administration that's going to fight back.
Right. Well, that assumes that Democrats somehow were able to push the Washington Post story, and I don't know what the sources were. Okay. Finally, Kellyanne Conway, this thing went viral. We're going to talk about this later. The photo of her on the couch. Democratic Congressman Cedric Richmond told a horrible sexual joke about this, something to do with her position and a certain past Oval Office scandal. And some Democrats, a few at least, including Chelsea Clinton, denounced it. Do you think the congressman's awful joke about Kellyanne deserved more media attention?
I think it deserved not just media attention, but I think also all of the women's groups out there should have come out into Kellyanne Conway's defense. If this had been a Republican who said something similar, they would be demanding a resignation. They would demanding his wife leave him. Because right now we see Ivanka Trump being targeted for something her dad said over a decade ago. But yet this congressman can get away with it because he's a Democrat and the media is not going to pursue it.
Well, I, for one, think that kind of humor has absolutely no place, and I think it probably did deserve, it undoubtedly did deserve more coverage and more criticism. Katrina Pearson, great to see you. Thanks very much.
Great to be here. Thank you.